Hey guys, long time no video, but here we are. My life has been super busy and got a lot of great things that are going on, and I'm just super blessed. And I know I haven't done a lot of morning little teachings or small testimonies here lately. My schedule, I haven't had a set schedule just yet, so it's been hard for me to get on a routine just as of right now, because there's a lot of changes that have been going off and on in my life, all for good. So I'm definitely excited. One of the things I wanted to share, because I feel like I've gotten several phone calls lately about people, wanting to be prayed for or just needing just some comfort, which is absolutely amazing. Feel free to message me or call me. I'm 100% available. But the biggest thing that I've been seeing is anxiety. And I think it's something that we don't talk about, but we express, but we don't talk about it. And there's a lot more that goes on with anxiety than just anxiety. Someone told me the other week, what you're feeling is real, but it's not reality. And that really stuck out to me. And I kind of took that to heart, because I understand that we have a lot of feelings, and I come to you and I say, God will work it out and everything. And sometimes maybe you might feel that your feelings aren't valid, and they are. The feeling that you're feeling is a natural human response. It's your fight or flight system in overdrive. So what you're experiencing is a raise in cortisol levels. And with that, you have blood pressure that rises. Your body doesn't know whether or not it needs to stay and fight, or it needs to run away. So when you understand how the fight or flight response works, you have to understand that some people are more sensitive to it, especially those who have had traumatic past, PTSD. And when I mean anxiety, I'm not talking about just a sudden rush or getting scared. This is an extreme, overwhelming feeling. It almost feels like you're having a heart attack, to the point where you're shaking, you don't know what to do, nauseous. It can last for 20-30 minutes, or it can last hours. It can even last days. So I'm speaking from experience, because I used to suffer from anxiety really, really, really bad. So bad that I would have to go to the hospital and they would have to inject me with Ativan. And that would finally calm me down. And I would start shaking. I would get so nauseous. Sometimes I would have to leave work because all the sounds, it was like an internal migraine. It was like in-ear migraine. Everything is super sensitive. And a lot of people are experiencing this here lately. And we're not going into details of why that is going on, but there is a lot of things that are at play, okay? So not only are you having a physical response, but this is a spiritual thing too, okay? And I say that because the adversary knows your weaknesses, and he knows where you are at in a point of your life. He knows that you may be sensitive to certain things. So he's going to utilize that moment in order to increase an already existing feeling, already an existing emotion. Anxiety is an emotion. It's fear. And even though it has a separation from fear, it is meaning that they're not directly one and the same. They kind of feed off of each other. If you have one, you'll have the other. But they are very, 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 very close to each other. Because it can bring fear, or fear will bring it on. So it kind of, they go hand in hand with each other. And so when that happens, everything is heightened. So the adversary is taking an emotion that you are not able to control at this moment, and he is heightening it to a bigger peak, so to speak. One of the things also is your diet. So he's watching your every move, guys. He is waiting for an opportunity to pounce on you. Now, you don't even have to believe in God for him to go ahead and work this in your life. But believers especially, I'm noticing that are getting hit with this too. And one of the biggest ways to combat anxiety is through peace. So what did I change in my life? First off, I went to God, and I eliminated things in my life that were causing unpeace in my life. Some of those things, alcohol. I wasn't sleeping well. Video games, intense movies, books that I would read that would really spark things, caffeine. So even though those are just like diet, it's like a diet and also like mental, you're also applying the word. So I went from point A to point B very quickly. First off, I got spiritual deliverance from fear. So I had a huge problem with fear. Really, really, really bad. I thought at any moment of my life I was going to die. I had this huge fear. This came in after my brother had passed away. And that's what originally allowed that anxiety to come in and that fear to come in that I was going to die. Every moment I thought something bad was going to happen, and I had this paranoia. This would trigger anxiety because I would think that I'm going to die. So if I felt something that was off, and I felt something that was like my heart started racing a little bit, I would get anxiety. Am I going to die? Am I having a heart attack right now? And that fear would set in, and then the anxiety would come over and just take over. So then, of course, that's going to have that cheap shot that the adversary has taken. He's watching all those levels. He's watching everything that you are doing at this point. And this is an opportunity for him to sneak in and absolutely destroy the moment that you are in. It can affect your day. It can affect your month. It can affect your year. I dealt with this for years. I dealt with this. People would not understand, but people would see me. My eyeballs, my pupils would get the size of saucers. I had direct fear in my face, and I would start shaking uncontrollably. I could not stop shaking. I couldn't breathe. But I took a lot of those things. Once I noticed, I was like, I have a lot of unpeace in my life. So what did I do? I removed those things that I saw that could be possible triggers, physical triggers to a part where anxiety could possibly take in to trigger my fight or flight response. Not only that, but I still had to get over the fear of having the fear. This fear, man, fear's tricky. Fear will get in, and it will have layers upon layers upon layers, okay? So then after that, I sought spiritual deliverance. So then I got spiritually delivered. I got delivered from the spirit of fear, which then in turn allowed the anxiety to kind of, the heightened anxiety to kind of go with it. Then I slammed my mind with godly things. I slammed my mind with Bible verses and prayer and just anything material, music, movies, TV shows, anything that was godly. I put that in replace of the things that I had allowed in my life that were causing a lot of issues, okay? So it takes work, okay? Prayer is an amazing thing, and it is powerful, and it will get you to a point to where you can start to realize things, you can get healing. But there is work that is involved in this process. You guys, I turned from a very different person in almost 2 years. Okay, I've been going after this for about 1 year and 6 months, 8 months, something like that. 2 years is when I kind of woke up and kind of knew that I had to make some changes. And this has been a process. But I don't deal with it anymore. I don't even have an anxious period of time. I get a hit of anxiety from time to time, all right? So it's not like I don't get that, because that is a natural human response. A natural human response to a situation, it's a fight or flight response. But it doesn't last very long, because I go to the Word and see what God has to say about that, and I repeat that over in my head, which calms me down, and know that right up here, I'm going to be okay, because God's got my back. And in turn, my body will have a easier transition to go back to normal, which doesn't allow the adversary to come in and just absolutely slam you, because he's waiting for those moments. You guys, we have to be on guard. We have to put on the full armor of God first off. So that's a great thing to do every morning. And repeat those things. Eliminate those things that are going to trigger a response for you to get overboard. So eliminating, a big one is caffeine, man. I see a lot of people and they're like, I'm so anxious, and it's like, well, how much caffeine are you ingesting? And you look at it, they're drinking 3 Red Bulls a day. First off, that's extremely unhealthy. I mean, you're getting poisoned at over 400 milligrams of caffeine. Okay, guys, you're poisoning your body. It's caffeine toxicity. So you can, at that point, like, your body, eventually the levels will go down, right? So the caffeine will wear off, and then you won't feel so anxious. You know, you won't have that jittery feeling. Everything goes like that. But the adversary sees that person's over the edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and kick it into overdrive, and then you get these huge reactions. And I've watched people do this. I have watched people go from point A to point B very, very quickly. So you have to understand, yes, what you're feeling is very real. And that emotion is very real. But it's a spiritual, so it's not the reality of it. The reality is, it's not bigger than you. It's not more than God can handle. It can be solved, and it can be taken care of. So if you don't believe in God and you are dealing with anxiety on a regular basis, guys, I am telling you from experience that when I went to God and I started applying His Word and got my body peaceful and my mind peaceful, I no longer battle anxiety. Now, people say, well, you can go and just find a peaceful spot. That's only temporary. A peaceful spot is only temporary. You can't really get away from work and go to a peaceful spot. You can't really be in the mall and go to a peaceful spot in that moment. But with God, at any moment, you can find rest and peace because it's instilled within you. So, another thing is people say, my anxiety. Listen, guys, you are owning your anxiety. You're owning it, okay? That's a very spiritual thing to say is I. You don't understand that those words hold a lot of water. and they hold a lot of power. So when you are confessing my anxiety, you are owning it and you are allowing it, okay? So repeating over in your head, my anxiety, my anxiety, my anxiety, this is now a part of you that this is a reality, and it's not. That is not a reality. It's very real, but it is a trick from the adversary to hide himself within yourself and just absolutely pummel you. And so it's hard to get rid of something if you don't see what's really there. So God promises us the peace. And when you have peace, when you're peaceful and you know that things are going to be taken care of because God's got your back, and you cast your cares upon him, guys, it will change your body physically on your response. And in turn, the anxiety goes with it. It goes away, especially if you get spiritual deliverance too, because it does turn into a spiritual thing. An anxious thought or an anxious moment isn't spiritual. But anytime you see something constant, anytime you see something extreme in an extreme, especially on your emotions, there's a difference between being angry and rage. Anger is needed. But the adversary takes anger and that emotion and he heightens it to a new level, which then becomes rage. People black out, they see red, they don't know what happened. All these other things. That becomes spiritual. Emotions can become very, very spiritual the more that you allow it and the more that you accept and the more that you own that is you and who you are. So, getting those things physically out of your life, whether it's diet, mental, guys, you gotta feed this with good, healthy stuff just as much as you feed this with good, healthy stuff. And when you do that, it allows you to have more freedom because the adversary can't get in. He can't heighten those things because you're not giving him room to. But he'll take any chance that he can possibly get. And that's where, praying every morning to get rid of the snares of the fowler for your day is very, very important. So look at your lifestyle and what you are putting into your life and what you're soaking in. Because if you're soaking in the word, nothing else has room to get to a point of extreme. And then it's manageable and able to have easier believing in order to get these things resolved and quickly so you can move around in your day. So if you want to know more, contact me. You don't even have to talk to me. I can get you to groups and stuff like that can help you in your journey so you don't have to be plagued with these things, because this is not the way that God wants you to live. This is not the way you have to live. Are these moments going to come? Yes, they are. But again, it's so easy to get from point A to point B with God than it is living with it and living in it and owning it and just applying more and more fuel to the fire. And the adversary's just having a heyday, man. And he wants to trick you to think that it's way bigger than it actually is. Because, if you think about it, look at your anxiety. Nothing's hurting you. Nothing is coming at you. You're just sitting on the couch. And all of a sudden, you feel like you're going to die. You feel like you're going to have a heart attack. You can't speak. You can't breathe. Guys, that is not natural, because I guarantee you go to the hospital, they're going to tell you nothing's wrong with you. They're going to do brain scans. They're going to check all your levels, and they're going to come back, there's nothing wrong with you. You know why? Because they can't check for spiritual stuff. I know because I went to the hospital. I'm like, there is something wrong in here. I don't know what's going on with my body. And they checked my levels and they'd come back. They did the scans. They did all this stuff. And guess what? Nothing showed up. And they're like, there's literally nothing wrong with you. But all we can do is put a Band-Aid on it. Here's some Ativan. Go home. But it didn't fix the problem. It gave me a temporary solution. Some temporary relief. But ultimately, it didn't fix all what was going on in here because I was feeding it the wrong stuff. So guys, I tell you this out of love. I tell you this, you don't have to take my word. You don't have to believe me. I hope that you would take this information and be like, I don't want this in my life, and kick it out because you mean so much. But you're going to have to put some effort, and you're going to have to wake up and realize that there's more that's going on than our little pea brains can comprehend. And even the doctors, they're going to tell you, and then you get put on this medication, guys, Xanax and all these addiction, and guess what? And it just brings on more spiritual stuff from the adversary to just absolutely destroy you. And they tried to put me on medication. They're like, just take the medication. I'm like, I watched so many of my friends dive down the rabbit hole, and a lot of them aren't alive anymore. So I was like, no. I stuck it out, but man, it was tough. But now I'm realizing, man, I fought so hard. I fought so hard for something I didn't need to fight that hard for. It was right there in front of me the whole time. I just didn't apply it. I just didn't take the initiative. I just didn't take it to heart enough to really go after it and then watch it work. You will see it work. You don't have to take my word for it. Don't believe me. Prove me wrong. I know I will put money on it. I'm not much of a betting man, but I guarantee you it will work because I've seen it time and time again. I've seen it, witnessed it in my own life, and I've seen it and witnessed it in other people's lives as well. So, if you're dealing with this, this is not the way you have to live, okay? But, period. And enough is enough. So, it's up to you to say, I'm ready. And that's it. And when you do, you're going to see, it's going to take a little bit of work. It's going to take some time to kind of glean out and wean out some of the bad stuff you've been ingesting here and here and here and here and here. I mean, seriously, I mean, there's a lot of avenues to where this is allowing the adversary to just run wild. So don't let him. He doesn't want you to think that you can conquer it. He doesn't want you to think that. He wants you to think you're stuck. He wants you to think that's how you're going to be. He wants you to think that you have to have medication in order to be normal, because then he can move more. So I love you guys. Take this video, share it, comment on it, like it, get the word out there, because this is really important, man. It's really, really important. And if you need to be prayed for, call me. I'll pray for you. I love praying for people. So love you guys, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.